welcome to my 6th standard game of 2013. In this game I played Rob Thomson as black. Rob Thomson was a 136 standard, and this is a game from the Hertfordshire Chess Congress 2013. I played this game on board 4 in round 1, and the time limit in this game was 90 minutes in 35 moves plus 15 minutes. He started off with d4, and I played knight f6, bishop f4, d5, e3, bishop f5, and knight f3. So we've got a London system here. e6, knight bd2, bishop e7, bishop e2, knight h5. So I'm thinking of giving up my knight for his bad bishop, because the general term goes that bishops are better than knights. However, this is a close position, so it does depend on whether I can open it up or not. Bishop g3, knight takes g3, h takes g3, and now he's got an attack on my king side, so it pretty much means I have to castle queen side and get my rooks into play on the h file somehow. Bishop g4, so I'm telling him, if you move your knight, I'm going to trade bishops, and I'm going to be the only one with the bishop left. Knight e5, bishop takes e2, queen takes e2, and a6. A6 is to stop the queen coming in on b5, checking my king and winning the pawn on b7. So he plays queen h5, g6, queen f3, and bishop f6. So now I'm going to get my bishop free and kettled, and I'll have a slightly solid position. Knight g4, bishop g7, castles long, knight c6, knight h6, queen d7, rook h4, and castles long. Castling long I think was a mistake. I probably should have played something like f6 instead and then castle, because now after queen takes f7 there isn't a good defense, you could say, to that. I could play rook df8, but after queen takes queen, king takes queen, and even though I have got a slight attack onto the f2 pawn, it isn't enough compensation really. So fortunately for me he didn't take it, which is why he isn't 152, he's a 136. e5, this is just a complete mistake. I'm just forgetting that I've got a piece undefended on f7. f5 would definitely have been better, but I didn't play it, which is a shame. Even if I played rook df8 it would have been better, but I didn't do that. So I played e5, and now knight c5 comes in. Queen e7 and knight takes f7. So the pin doesn't work now because, as you can see, he's got Zwischenzug. So after king b8, knight takes h8, rook takes h8, and knight d7, king a7, he definitely has a better position here and is winning, I'd say. D takes c5, h5, so trying to move the queen so I can win the knight. Queen h3 and g5, this is trapping the knight. Sorry, trapping the rook. His only safe square for his rook currently is either to take the h pawn or to play rook a4, in which case I will play g4, and then I will just win his queen for nothing at all. So best move is rook takes h5, rook takes a5, queen takes h5, and queen takes d7. Queen takes g5, forced, you have to get the pawn back, and then I just play knight takes pawn. Going back a couple of moves, if he had played something along the lines of c4, I think he would have been slightly stronger. Not c4, but e4. He gets his pawns into a better formation, and even though he doesn't get the g pawn, it's probably going to fall off anyway. However, after taking that, I get knight takes e5, and I can play c6. Queen f4. I'm not that sure about that. He should have played e4 and carried on with what I said earlier to try and get that pawn. He's got more pieces, so swapping off and opening the position is what he needs. His rook needs an open file, so it has to come in somehow. Queen f4, c5, b3, queen c6. So I'm trying to get an attack going here, because I am down by a bishop and knight for a rook and 3 pawns, which is definitely bad for me. And if I can get a slight attack going, because my bishop and knight are well placed, I might be able to cause him some trouble, or maybe win another pawn, and then it will be equalish. So queen g5, bishop f6, queen g8. So I'm causing them a bit of troubles here, which I'm glad. d4. So I'm trying to open up my queen's diagonal, and it also opens up the c file for my queen for future use. E takes, c takes, rook takes, queen takes g2, rook f4, protecting the pawn, and now comes in a couple of neat moves. Queen c6, rook d4, and now my queen can just go straight to h1 because his rook is not on the f4 square now. The rook jumps back, queen onto g2, and now he's got two choices to protect his pawn. Either he has to play the rook move, rook to d2, or he has to play what he did play, f4. So f4 and knight to c6. So the bishop diagonal is open here. His g-pawn is slightly weak, but I'm not going to be winning that anytime soon. My current threat would be knight b4 takes a2, and then maybe jumps into c3, or just knight b4, queen takes c2, checkmate. So it's basically now seeing how he will defend it. So he plays queen c4 and I play queen f2. So this is to stop any checks along the dark diagonal, which runs from a7 to g1, which I will show you. So king b1, not sure why he did that. Yeah, he did have to do that because otherwise I have got moves like knight b5 coming up. However, I can't play that currently, obviously, because his queen's holding that square. So not quite sure why he did the king move. He might have been scared of the queen check coming up, but that isn't any reason to do that move. So I think that's a bit of a silly move. He just got scared and played the wrong move there. So king b1, queen f3, not taking the pawn, weirdly. Yeah, I'm just attacking the rook. So I'm telling him to move his rook first, then I'll take it. Don't know my real reason for that. I can't see what's wrong with just taking the pawn immediately, but maybe I wanted this rook out of the game. So he plays his queen check, king a8. You have to play slightly accurately here because otherwise you're going to die. So king a8, rook e1, and queen takes g2, attacking the rook again. So he moved his rook to a bad square, I'd say. He brings the queen down, check, knight b8, lucky me. And now you can see how bad his rook move was. If he had just played something like rook to c1, then after the check, he could have won my bishop, which wouldn't have been good for me. So you can see how pointless that rook move was. In fact, it's just made his life miserable. So queen b4, bishop c3, and now the game is over because I have now traded queens. Even if there wasn't a queen trade, I still would have had a bishop and a knight for his two pawns, so it's just clearly winning. So now the knights come in. You have to play accurately here because you can still make a mistake. However, well done if you can see this, but bishop g3, f5, and knight e4, and you win his one of his extra pawns, and then it is just very simple because he has no more passed pawns left. At the end of that game, I had 30 minutes, and he had 20 minutes. So it was a good time usage by myself, and that also includes the fact that the time had been added on. So that was good. Thanks for watching this video. My next video will be from the second round where I played on board 3 against Gerald Conley as whites. Gerald was a 1-3-6 standard and it wasn't a bad game, so hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.